I am Jeff Biggs, host of the Cowboys Squad Show. Happy Thanksgiving, capped off with a huge Cowboys win.
I am Iisha Morrison, and this 3-game stretch has shown me that Dallas is becoming a good team.
Glenn Stretch Smith, and it is about time to give Jerry Jones some credit, whether you want to or not.
Nice.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Well, as I said, happy Thanksgiving. It is great to be with you. Hope your day is even better now after a huge Cowboys win over the Chiefs. We knew it was going to be a great game. We knew it was a big game, and it turned out to be all of that and even more because the Cowboys found a way to outscore the Chiefs and get enough stops to beat the Chiefs by the final of 31-28. Welcome to the Thanksgiving Day edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. Crossover Thursday is presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. For Iisha Morrison and the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, I'm Jeff Biggs, and I'll tell you what, the way the game started, wasn't sure, but hey, to the Cowboys' credit, they were fine. They settled down, and not only that, they were the better team on the field today.
Yeah, I felt like it took the offense a little time to get in rhythm. I thought the defense obviously had continued their performance from Sunday, being able to have consistent stops, and it took the offense a little time to kind of get in rhythm and continue to have some sustained drives. But all around, I thought it was a good game of all three phases of the game coming together again for the second time.
Yeah.
Coach, here's kind of I thought was really something that stood out for me in the football game, and that was, Dak initially throws a really ugly pick in a bad situation. What I loved was it never affected him the rest of the football game. He's almost, and I'm saying this because it feels like that he's become a defensive back. He's forgotten that last play, what he did that last go around, how he, and it was a really bad throw, and he should have saw that 4-week look coming. It was right in his face. And so I just like how he turned the page very quick, because it was really critical for Dallas to score the next time down the field. That shifted the entire, what I felt like was the way that Spagnuolo was calling the game. It shifted the entire way that Matt Nagy was calling it offensively, because now all of a sudden they go right back down the field on you, and you think, man, we're going to get in a scoring battle here. And so I just loved how he put that bad throw aside and almost played a perfect game after that.
Yeah, to your point, Coach, I thought that his mechanics to start the game weren't the best. The footwork wasn't really married to what the upper body was doing. One thing we know about it's not Fangio, right? It's Fangio, right? Isn't that who we talking about? Spagnuolo. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, similar in some ways. But we know that he likes to change the picture right at the end of the snap. Like those are things he likes to do. He likes to drop guys in coverage. Their safeties did some sneaky stuff as well, kind of trying to bait Dak. So, I thought that they were going to trip Dak up a couple of times. I mean, it's just what that defense does. And so, to your point, Coach, for him to bounce back from the mistake and to play well the rest of the game, and again, to get in a rhythm, because I didn't feel like he looked like he was in a rhythm. It looked like he was throwing off platform a whole bunch. You could tell he wasn't driving the ball. It was kind of floaty on him. So I like the response by him to kind of settle in. It seemed like it took him a little second to settle in, and they were able to move the ball, like you said.
Well, and to what you said, I mean, Vic Fangio was a week ago, Steve Spagnuolo this week, back to back. You go beat the two best defensive coordinators, arguably the two best defensive coordinators. Are they the two best defenses? No, they're not, because Denver's a better defense. Houston is a better defense. But I'm talking about schematically, guys that can show you one thing, wheel to another. They'll gamble a lot. And I mean a lot. They'll gamble a lot with you. And so usually when you have guys that do that, it'll put you in bad plays from time to time. I didn't feel like that it was the case here, because Dak didn't let it get him in bad plays. And so, I mean, I've been critical of a $60 million contract as much as anybody. And now I have to say that, I mean, he is playing as good as anybody in the NFL, and he went out there and matched a guy who tried to show you every magic trick he could show you, including, the throw back against his body for the touchdown.
Awesome.
He pulls it up and he flings it back across the field, and you're sitting there and you're like, I mean, it was almost like when they punch you right in the ribs, you go, oh, and that's what it felt like on both of those. But just a great job by Dak Prescott, and what he did and how he did it and how he managed the football game. That's the key, because Kansas City likes to bleed the clock. They like to kind of bludgeon you. They like to give you, as few possessions as they can give you. And he didn't – it was like he didn't flinch in that situation. So very, very, in my mind, very impressive to – go in a 4-day span. You beat the two teams that played in the Super Bowl last year.
Incredible.
If you'd have told me that a month ago, I would have told you put the strawberry zigzags down. But you know what? You did it.
I'm willing to bet that's probably never happened before. It's probably going to be a first. We'll find out. But incredible. And they were. I mean, it wasn't like a fluky surprise. I mean, they were the better team today. They showed they were the better team, period. Yeah.
And to your point about, Dak Prescott's play today, he started within his own 10 a lot. Dallas was not able to get favorable field position. And every time they scored, most of the time they were having to drive the length of the field. So to your point, Coach, for them to be able to have sustained drives when you're going up against a defense and a defensive coordinator that is counting on you making mistakes, I mean, having to play that clean football. And another thing, too, is that, the run game wasn't as effective as it's been today. I think in spots, I feel like towards the end of the game, you saw, some of those holes opening up a little bit more. Dallas got some good outside runs a couple of times and stuff like that. But it wasn't the cleanest day on the ground. Javonte Williams only averaging 3.5 on the ground. So for this offense to still be able to operate despite the fact that they were heavily relying on the pass, I think says something as well about what you can be. And if teams try to make you one-dimensional, it's like they still stuck to the run. They did. It wasn't pretty the whole time, but they stuck to it, and they were able to get some explosive plays out of the run game.
Malik Davis.
Well, and they got him pinned down in there. I mean, to the point you're making, they got him pinned down in there, I think 3 or 4 times inside the 5, and Dallas didn't go 3 and out. I mean, they brought the ball out. They got the ball out of there. And so, I try to, when I'm looking at this, I'll give each down, kind of, and you guys have heard me say this, kind of the arrow up, arrow down. And the only arrow down that I gave was the drive coming out of to start the second half. I mean, when Pickens dropped the slant, and hell, I'd give him that ball 100 out of 100 times. And other than that, I have no down arrows anywhere to where I could say I could point to this part of the football game, because I really thought, okay, well, you know how tides stem and turn in football games. You're thinking, okay, this is going to turn right here. It didn't turn, because they came right back and then got a field goal the next time when they started again on the 4-yard line. So I'm just saying, you gotta give credit where credit is due, and I'm certainly one to do that, because I have been critical of Dak, thinking, And is he really a $60 million? You've heard it, Jeff, 100 times on this show, where I've said, is he really a $60 million quarterback? Well, I don't know what he's worth, but I know he's better than some of those other guys that are getting. He's better than Trevor Lawrence. We can start talking about guys that are getting paid up there too.
No, he definitely elevates your team. I mean, you see, Coach, you talked about him controlling the game. He controls tempo as well. And then going up against, Spagnola's defense, you saw Dak go a little longer into the play clock, trying to get guys in the right spot, checking out of stuff, checking guys into stuff, and just that's what, to me, what makes him the $60 million quarterback is the ability to read the defense, to kind of temper the guys and let them know, like, hey, this is a big drive. And so to your point, Coach, I think the responses to, the mistakes, or the responses to Kansas City going out and, making a big play or getting a touchdown, is that Dak and the offense really didn't seem phased. And the defense, I know we're going to get to, I thought they played well as well today. I thought they played some sound football as well.
No doubt about that. I mean, you got this. We can sit here and go over. We start counting rolls, say take and roll. There's a bunch of guys that really played well, but I thought the difference in the football game was the quarterback running the offense, the quarterback making timely throws, the quarterback checking in to the correct plays or checking out of certain plays. And right now, he is in link step, with his head coach and his offensive coordinator, because they are marching to the same tune. And Romo even said it. I think he said, "Boy, they're both hot," and they were hot at the right time. And so, as hard as it is sometimes to look at it from your eyes being wide open standpoint, because we all have our opinions about certain things, but you got to kind of put that down, look at it from a wide open opinion. And man, he played, and he has done some things that I wasn't sure he could do. And I'm going to go back and say this. Yeah, I saw Parsons get 2.5 sacks today, but you know what? I'm not sure the Cowboys aren't in a better position right now, because they had their hand forced to go do something. And that's why I'm talking about giving Jerry Jones credit too. They had their hands forced to go do something. And I don't believe Micah Parsons on this football team, the Cowboys could have done what they just did. I don't believe that. I believe that you had to see an interior defensive line beef up that absolutely stoned them running the football. And Kansas City can run the football. You say, well, they're missing some of their offensive linemen. I don't hear all that. They stoned their ass today. And that was, to me, there's so much underlying tones here other than just getting on here and saying, who played good. I think that's important. But there's some underlying tones with this football team and what they've done to win these 2 games in a 4-day span.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean, I think we talked about how last week, what a big step the defense has made. And I think to your point, Coach and Iisha, the offense really took a big step today, because they didn't leave any opening for the Chiefs to come back and win it. I mean, they responded, like you said, Iisha, every time they needed to respond, they did it. When they needed to keep drives going, they did it. And then late in the game, when Kansas City came down and pulled within 3, they didn't give them a chance to win or tie it. The offense closed it out and said, nope, that's it. You're done. And it was just that kind of the game where, again, the offense didn't hurt itself or didn't fail to meet the moment. It was just the opposite. They were in command, in control, and they imposed their will, and they looked like the better team on both sides of the ball. But offensively, I mean, they used everything today, and it was great to see.
No, that's something I was gonna mention is the collective effort. I mean, Flournoy touched the ball today, Turpin touched the ball today, Ferguson touched the ball today, Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, it was an all-around effort offensively, and when you're multiple like that, that's what makes it hard on defense, is the game plan for you. And so I thought the ball distribution was well thought out today. We know that, with these short weeks, that these guys aren't changing their play calls a whole bunch, team to team. But I felt like the game plan for Dallas today offensively was efficient, and they clearly noticed that Kansas City's corners are grabby, and they attacked that today.
Yes,
they attacked that. They attacked that. They sold it in some areas, but they really went at those corners for the Chiefs, and that paid dividends for them this game.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the play calls were spot on, like you pointed out, Coach. I mean, and look, this was a huge game, not only for the Cowboys, but for the Chiefs as well. I mean, it was like, and you don't think that they were jacked up to be at AT&T and Patrick Mahomes back. I mean, that was huge game, all the different storylines, and usually these are the kind of games that the Chiefs kind of rise up and find a way to win when they really have to, and they didn't today because the Cowboys were the better team.
Yeah, they just looked. I thought that Dallas looked in it, and this is not. And I think that the Chiefs have some fantastic coaches. There's times you watch the Chiefs, and especially offensively, it feels like, how they call it, like backyard ball. It feels like that often, where you're like, after the script is gone, there's so much improvising that goes on that I feel like, that might be a benefit to you in at other times. But I feel like with Dallas, them being off center and like not hitting their cues, their wide receivers had some drops. There were some timing issues. I just felt like Dallas knew that they could be kind of unpredictable, and they took advantage of that when they could. So, yeah.
Very nice. All right, let's take our first time out. When we come back, I want to switch and talk about the defense a little bit. We'll talk more about this game, some of the other highlights of note. And again, the Cowboys, 3 in a row. They beat the Eagles on Sunday. They beat the Chiefs today, 31-28, the final score. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, got to give it up for FanDuel because it is that time of the year. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making the late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. It really is. There we go. I'm just waiting for my computer to move as we are live. All right, welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. Cowboys over the Chiefs, 31-28. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you've had a great day, great night, and it's even better after this win for the Cowboys, who beat the Chiefs and did so, I think, in very convincing fashion. On both sides of the ball. Let's talk about the defense. Again, the Chiefs made some plays, but Chiefs didn't score in the second quarter. They didn't score in the third quarter, and Cowboys really needed to make a stop. They did.
I mean, this. Go ahead, Iisha.
Go ahead. I'll bounce off of you.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. I thought you'd stepped into the screen and you were gonna. I can tell you're a little visibly upset, so we're here for you.
I'm not upset.
Your eyes a little. Anyway, defensively, look here's what I'm going to say about what has gone on defensively. This doesn't even look like the same team.
No,
excuse me, in the last 3 weeks as it did the first 6-7 weeks of the season. It is not even the same, seriously, not the same cast of characters, not the same It doesn't look like the same scheme. It doesn't look like anything that we've seen. So the first thing you got to do is you got to give credit to Matt Eberflus for changing whatever it was he needed to change, whether that was personnel, whether that was how they play with leverage, whether that was what they were doing in the secondary, whether it was how they were marrying their coverages to what they were doing up front. Here's the other thing I'm going to tell you, and I thought this was really it speaks volumes to me for Logan Wilson to be wearing to be calling the plays this quick on the defense. That tells me a little something too. And so I think there's guys that are playing with confidence now. Sam Williams looks like a totally different player now than he did 6 weeks ago. I'm going to tell you that I feel like Clowney gets better every single week. I don't know. He looks like he is so ready to cut loose with a 2 or 3 sack game. It's unbelievable. He's chasing the ball. He's got great hand placement. Ezeraku at times frustrates me because he doesn't have enough lead in his ass to close it down once he gets across the hump, but he'll continue to grow. Quinnen Williams is a man. Don't make any mistake about it. And he and Osa are now starting to impose their will. And guess what? Then Solomon Thomas came in today and imposed his will a little bit. So I see Dante Fowler doing some great things. But I'm going to tell you something. The kind of the guy that's standing out to me is this Ravel. He's got something about him, and he knows how to play the game. I'm saying he understands his length and gets in great position. And I got to give a lot of credit to Bell. I mean, Bell looks like a different football player too. And whatever they're doing to fertilize this group of guys, to water this group of guys, to get them the sunshine they need or whatever, I just hope they'll continue to do that.
It's interesting because I have this thing, like this running joke now where I say, like, I don't trust training camp because so many of the things that we're seeing, like the 5 down linemen, obviously Eberflus, deploying a spy at times, Marquise Bell and his usage. A lot of this stuff are things that I saw at training camp. I talked to the players about. I talked to them, wanted to disguise coverages, wanted to drop guys in coverage sometimes or blitz, and just kind of how exotic they kind of wanted to be in doing stuff. But once the season started, none of that was happening anymore. So I think, to your point, Coach, it has a lot to do with your interior defensive line, your defensive line playing better, especially playing the run better. And that kind of freeing up your guys to be able to do things. And also, too, it gives your coach confidence as well. Like, some of those blitzes, you got to have confidence in your players to call those blitzes and those timely blitzes that Eberflus called this game. And I just think that he's getting a feel for the gentleman he has on the field as well. And when you talk about Ravel, Coach, I agree with you on his length. I agree with you on his hip turn and his ability to mirror. One thing I am looking for him to continue to grow with is containing and, helping out in the run. Obviously, he is coming off of pretty serious knee injury, so I don't know when that's going to come along. But I feel like when he adds that to his game and he gets, a little bit more comfortable doing that, to your point, I think we could really be looking at this guy as a player. And DaRon Bland went out for a little bit with a foot. Sounds like he was a little hobbled. So that's something to keep an eye out on this week. So, I think the secondary is playing better football. Seems like they trust each other a little bit more. And this pass rush being able to get quick, the interior pass rush specifically, being able to get quick pressures really takes a lot of, weight off of your secondary and allows them to, do some things in coverage.
Right. And the way you're getting that quick pressure is the inside guy that's getting the one-on-one. He's just dog walking that guy right back into the quarterback's face. Mm-hmm. That, to me, you got, and it's not always the same guy. Usually it's Quinnen. But today, in the opportunity, when they did turn the protection the other day, he walked his guy right back in there. So the collapse into the pocket and how the front is reacting to what they're seeing is something that, whether you saw it or not, you probably weren't going to see it at training camp because they didn't have the same cast of guys. I mean, it's not even the same. So I know what you're saying as far as, hey, trust what you see in training camp. I'm going to say that good for Matt Eberflus I'm sure he had to get out of his comfort zone to do what he's doing. I'm sure of that because he tried to tell you by what he was doing that he was not comfortable with a lot of things. Well, when you change players, when you get some different guys in the secondary, when guys start to get some confidence, I think that's really good. I hope they don't give up on Diggs. I really do, because I think Diggs right now, with the defense confident as they are, can absolutely contribute here. I wish I knew what was going on in that scenario.
It sounds like I'm gonna keep an eye out on it, this week. But it does sound like they do want him to play again this season. And again, with Bland being a little hobbled, Kalen Carson obviously being out this game, not being able to go. That Detroit game is a big game, so maybe Dallas, maybe Dallas.
They're all big right now.
Yeah, I agree. I know.
Right. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's a big football game.
Yes, it's a big game, so we'll see what happens this week. But I do agree. Dallas is starting to look a little thin at the cornerback position just based off of injury and guys coming back. I thought DeMario Overshown, like as you watch him, it seems like he is starting to get like a better feel for the game. The way he shoots gaps, his explosiveness when he shoots gaps, and the tackling for the most part. You very rarely will see him miss a tackle. There might be a couple times he takes a bad angle, but most of the time where he touches a guy is where that guy is wrapped up. And I think that he is helping that part of the field that people attack you at a lot, and that's in the flats. They be killing your linebackers with that. They did it earlier in this game. Kansas City is a team that does a lot at the line of scrimmage, screen game, quick game, all that stuff. They're trying to get their guys yak opportunities, and I thought that Dallas handled that pretty well today.
They really did.
Another thing is it felt like Kansas City got every break that you could get. I'm saying, when Ferguson hit that seam, if he's not closely double teamed, he's trying to get his foot down. He just gets tripped back there, and so he doesn't get his second foot. They were lucky. Lucky. And then for Mahomes to throw that ball back across his body, I'm calling that luck. Do I think he makes plays like that? I do. But I think that's they were very fortunate in that situation that ball wasn't either tipped or picked. And so, hey, I'm not taking anything away from Pat Mahomes because he is a magical guy with the football. But I'm going to tell you, it felt like the breaks went in the way of Kansas City, and Dallas still overcame all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although I would say too, and Iisha, this is to your point about the Cowboys attacking and being in attack mode. The fact that the Chiefs had 10 penalties for 119 yards, and a lot of those were big key moment penalties. And that, to me, that's not so much a reflection of them or their ability. I think it's more just of the Cowboys and their ability and imposing their will. I mean, that hurt them a lot.
Yeah, the aggressive play downfield, Dallas taking shots, even the second to last drive where you think, Dallas is starting it with like their own 6 or something. It wasn't their 6. It was close though. They're starting. You're thinking that they want to just manage the clock. It was only like 3 minutes left in the game. You're like, okay, they want to run the clock. They want to, nope, bomb to George Pickens, 50-yard bomb. Hey, we're going to go win this game. We want to go win this game. And I also agree that I thought the aggressiveness to go take the game when they felt like it was there for the taking is something that you want to see from your team in these moments. You don't want to see them be hesitant. And that's something that Shotty has kind of modeled since he's been here. So, the aggressiveness of the offense, I think, is something that I hope continues.
Let me ask you both.
They kicked the field goal to go up 6. I don't hear any of that analytical bull crap. I'm not interested. They kicked the field goal and went up 6. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
I heard him say, well, it was a 50-50 proposition. They didn't know damn 50-50. Kick the field and go up 6. And then the game worked exactly like it should have worked. Then you come back and score and you go for 2. Now you're right where you should be and you're not chasing points.
Yeah, Dan Campbell and the Lions left a field goal on the field in their
game.
Yeah,
they'll gamble with a credit card. They'll do it in a heartbeat.
Let me ask you both this, to get back to the defense and Matt Eberflus, again, for all of the criticism that was levied on him at the start of the year. I'm going to say, in addition to what you both said about the improvements with the defense, I'm even impressed with how they are improving within the game. I mean, they get better, and they are, we think of good teams are teams that make adjustments, right? Sean McVay of the Rams, great adjustments at halftime. But for the Cowboys defense, they are making adjustments as the game goes on. They're getting better as the game goes on. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to say it's a lot of adjustments, not to talk down. I'm going to tell you, they got a lot of football players. They are rolling football players in this game. He's confident in those guys. Those guys are fresh. They're rolling guys in the football game. That's the difference. He's chasing the football with a sense of urgency with guys that aren't gassed. When you have a rotation of guys and you can play all those guys, that's where I'm going to give him credit, is he does continue to do that. And I think some guys didn't like that early. They like to kind of get in the flow of the game, or they like to get that burn going before. Hey, you know what? When you are fresh, and you are fresh in the fourth quarter, and right now, that's what this team is. They were a more, and you can say, well, they look like they're in better shape. Yeah, in better shape because they're playing more guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the rotations, that's another thing also with the rotations. You're getting contributions in those rotations, because if Clowney has to take a breather with Sam Williams coming in, or a Dante Fowler coming in for Izaraku, or however that goes, you're not, like, these guys are contributing. So you're not seeing like a huge drop off when some of these starters have to roll out there and get a breather. Same thing with the interior defensive line. If Kenny Clark needs a breather or Quentin Williams needs a breather, you think that, you think that also Diggy Zoo and those guys can kind of hold up the fort. Solomon Thomas, again, you talked about it as well. So obviously the linebacker rotation, I think, has been important as well. Still not a fan of Murray and coverage. Still not a fan of Murray and coverage. But again, you got those guys fresh. And I also think this offense,
he was right there. I mean, he was right there when Kelsey made an unbelievable catch. I mean, I know what you're saying if you want to be critical of his ball skill, but he was there. I mean,
he was there.
What I like, he's in the area code.
No, I agree. At least he's in the area. But I think this Dallas offensive line also too. You look at the Philly game, you look about midway through the third, and you look at this Kansas City game. They're starting to. They have the ability to wear on teams. I think this Dallas offensive line definitely starts to wear on these defensive lines. And I do think we saw some fatigue in this game from both teams. I know Coach said that they were fresh and stuff like that. They were fresher than Kansas City. But I do think we see guys, I definitely saw guys huffing and puffing and, a little bit slower to get up. It's hard to play a game, this quick. This is a very quick turnaround. So for Dallas to lock in, I think that takes fortitude. That takes mental strength to lock in and finish this game. When fatigue is setting in, when you're tired, when you like, dang, like I want to go home and eat some Thanksgiving food too, so it's just I thought the Philly game was a big boost for them. And I feel like they took a lot of the energy that they had in that game into this game, even with the slow start. I thought that I never felt like Dallas couldn't rally to win this game, even when they went down 7-0.
Yeah. Did you like Post Malone, Iisha?
Huh? What'd you say?
You heard what I said.
I was eating banana pudding. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah, I missed it too.
You know what? I thought it was impressive. I'm like, surely Iisha might be getting up on the good foot at halftime with Post Malone.
I ain't getting up on no good foot. I had my little sangria. What did y'all eat today? What you eat today?
It's been rough around this house because Fortunately, my mom's in the hospital, so it is batching it 101 over here. I promise you, 101 batching it.
Well,
I got 2 Christmas trees up now. I promise you, I'm ready for Christmas. It's decorated to the nines. But as far as any Thanksgiving food, it is rough.
I wish you weren't so far away. I'd invite you over. We got plenty of leftovers.
Oh no, I had plenty of people want to bring it by, but I was afraid if they brought it by at the wrong time, they'd hear old Stretch, barking some words and make a sailor blush in the middle of that game, and that ain't good either.
All right. Well, when we come back, instead of turkey, I want to talk a little bit of lamb, and we'll get into that when we return. Cowboys, huge win today over the Chiefs on this Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. 31-28. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Welcome back to the Cowboys Squad Show. Cowboys over the Chiefs, 31-28. And I had a feeling it was going to kind of go like this. We saw this happen early in the season. Remember, opening night, CD had a couple of key drops in the opening loss to the Eagles, then came back, had a monster game against the Giants. Same story Sunday, had a few key drops. Cowboys got the win, though. They beat the Eagles. And then, sure enough, today, CD went off, and he looked like vintage CD Lamb today. 7 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown early, but he looked great. And again, when you just take a step back and you think of the possibilities with CD and Pickens and what this team can do down the road and in some big moments, it's fun to think about. And again, just great to see him step up and bounce back the way that he did today.
Heck yeah, because you're going to need them both.
Yep.
I don't know why people have this thing where, like, I know I've seen in particular plenty of fans and content creators and stuff like that just kind of playing the comparison game with the two players. I think they're two totally different players, but regardless, I like having nice things. And so we, as Cowboys people, we don't get that much. So for me, I'm going to appreciate both of them while they're here. I knew that CD was going to respond this week just based off of his attitude and how seriously he took practice, even though they didn't get to have like full practices. And yeah, he was more sure-handed. I thought that you could tell that Schottenheimer wanted to get him started early, wanted to do some little things to get some confidence instilled in him. And that was the difference in the game, is him kind of getting started. Pickens seemed like he was a little out of sync with Dak earlier in the game. Yes. And that allowed, and with CD being able to playing well, they kind of, it allowed Pickens to show up when he needed to in the second half. And so I feel like there's nothing wrong with these guys kind of, you're struggling. You may not have it this quarter, but I got it this quarter.
Jeff, you know who helping out? You know who having 2 frontline receivers, you know who it really helps out?
Who's that?
You're not going to answer either way. You're just going to sound like an owl.
Your run game?
Dak, run game, the tight ends.
No, 0 for 3. Iisha, who's it help out?
Having 2 good receivers, Jake Ferguson.
It hurt. Let me tell you who it helps out the most. Your corners and what they see defensively every day. Who you practice.
Okay. You're right.
How you practice.
Gotcha.
When you can see big-time receivers every day, let me tell you, it helps the Dallas secondary. You can tell it's helping the secondary. What I like is now you're going to go play Detroit. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. Hey, now all of a sudden, there's not going to be no shock when you go out on the field and you see those guys, because you've been seeing it every day in practice. You see it. And so I think it's, the one thing that doesn't get talked about here, and we talk about complementary football is when guys are working against one another. Let me tell you, the Dallas offensive line is getting better because they're working against Quinnen Williams and Odighizuwa. So when you have and you're playing really good complementary football, it's because guys are practicing hard and guys are practicing hard against those guys that are practicing hard. I talk about it all the time, being, and I think of, okay, how am I going to explain to people why is this, what they're doing right now, so infectious? The reason it's so infectious is because guys see guys working against other guys, and they become better. You hear the term iron sharpens iron. That's what you want to see. And so right now, I mean, I'm not going to jump up and say, hey, this team is headed for whatever. I'm going to tell you that this team is a damn good football team right now, because they're practicing against one another and they're getting better during the week, and it shows on Sunday.
I like that.
Or on Thursday.
2 Thursdays. Yeah, that's a great point, Coach. I honestly had not thought of it that way, but you're right. I mean, and that's the way it should be, right? And that's what the whole point of practice is. You're the coach, and so good to see. Good, and even though Pickens, it didn't feel like a Pickens game of late, he still had 6 catches for 88 yards. As you mentioned, Iisha Flournoy got in. That was good. Ferguson still flashed a little bit of that potential. But as you said earlier, I mean, they got everybody going. It was great to see. They even had Turpin kind of make up for that fumble run last week, and he had a good run going outside instead of between the tackles, but also had that key fumble recovery, which was huge late in the game. That could have been big. So they're getting it better and better and better. 3 in a row. I mean, better with that, like you said, Coach, better now than they were a month ago, for sure. Totally different team.
Yeah, and every game that they play, I think that they each unit like gets better. Like I feel like we've seen through the beginning of the season, it was some games special teams would play well, some games offense would play well sometimes, but I think they're putting more complete games together as the season's going on. And honestly, from what I know, that's what you want, is that you want your team in the second half of the season, whatever the case may be, picking up on stuff. Like there's evaluation period. You want to see guys adjusting. And so even like Coach was saying, like, even if we're not thinking about, the tournament and all that stuff, I'm looking at the team and evaluating the team. And I think that they are really growing something good here in Dallas.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well, so now the key is keeping it going and not going the other way, as you say, Coach. You don't want the arrow to go back the other way. You want to keep that arrow going in the right direction. And this game coming up next week, a week from tonight in Detroit, I mean, that's going to be a desperate Lions team that is trying to find their mojo. They're trying to get it back, but they don't look like, the team that they did a couple of years ago, and they're trying to get that back. And I think on the road in Detroit, if the Cowboys can handle their business and not beat themselves, they should be in a great position to win.
Well, it is. I mean, if you would have told me, I don't know what the percentage was. I think they had somewhere around 9% chance of making the playoffs. Now it's around 17. And guess what? If you can figure out a way to just keep making the strides that you're making, I mean, anything is possible in the NFL. And I'll promise you one thing, you can say what you want to about just line them up right now. The team that people don't want to see coming to town are the Dallas Cowboys. And
it's the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't want to say it like I'm being a homer, but that's a fact.
No, if you think that teams don't, every year there are teams that go on playoff pushes that get hot at a certain time that may not have played well at the beginning of the season, but they pick up on certain things. Like Dallas is definitely one of those teams. Their offense has already been playing well. You see the defense. I do think 3 weeks and the opponents that you have played thus far gives you a good look-see, and like as far as how is this team good? Are they really improving? I think there's enough metrics and all that stuff to decipher that Dallas is really trending in the right direction. People don't want to see you. I totally
agree. And I mean, you've heard Bill Belichick said a lot of times football season starts on Thanksgiving. I mean, that hey, and right now this team is trending in the right direction. And so, well, got let's see who that. I'm going to look down the road a little bit. They've got Detroit, then they got the Chargers, Redskins, Giants. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we will see there.
Yeah, I don't think that the Lions. My first glance at the Lions, I don't think that they're as strong on the interior offensive line and defensive line as they've been in previous years. Now we saw that who's their big offensive lineman that unretired that's gonna be
right now.
Yeah, he's sounds like he is unretiring. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're trying to get some help. They're trying to get some things. So that's the biggest difference to me between the Lions right now. Personally, is that I don't think that their trenches are as dominant as they have had the capability of being at times. And Dallas on the other end of that, I think, is getting stronger and being able to close out games with their interior defensive and offensive line.
And I think too, I think a huge part of it, Coach, is what you touched on earlier about Dak's command of the offense. I think that's going to be the real key. I mean, it's like the Ferrari's there. Now you got to take it out and win. Like when they're clicking and they're using everybody, like you talked about at Iisha, and they're firing on all cylinders and they're making the right reads, making the right play calls, getting everybody involved. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I mean, like you said, it's got to be a nightmare to try to game plan. But when they're able to use everybody the way that they are, they should be able to do what they want to do. And it's scary.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what you saw them do. I mean, you saw them game plan to take Pickens out of the football game. And guess what? The other guy stepped up. Now you got to pick your poison. You have to decide, what are you going to do? I mean, they bring the corner blitz off of CD's side. He runs right by the safety, and Dak sees it, throws the football. When you can execute at that level, it gives defensive coordinators nightmares. And I mean, Dallas stuck with the run today. I don't know what. I'm not looking at the stats. Total rush yards. I don't know, but I know it was. Do you have it, Iisha?
137.
Yeah, I mean, so it was. Williams had how many yards did he have? 80-ish.
59. He had 59 yards on the ground.
Okay.
17 carries.
17 carries.
Okay. Then what Turpin's run was for like that when they ran that toss to him. What did
he had 3 carries for 33 yards, Turpin.
Yeah. I think one of them was 25, right? Wasn't a long 25?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? When you can mix and match and do those things, and then you're taking what the defense gives you. I mean, seriously, and a quarterback that's operating the way Dak's operating, I mean, other people got problems out there.
Yeah. I think the most fun part about it for me is, there's some offenses and there's some teams who they want to just run their plays. They want to run their plays. But I love that Dak, when he sees CD one-on-one with somebody that he thinks CD could be, he's just going there. Sometimes it doesn't have to be fancy schmancy. Sometimes it's my guy is better than your guy, and I'm going to go with your guy. And I think we're seeing that in these big moments with Pickens, with CeeDee Lamb. And I like that Dak, like CeeDee Lamb can come up to Dak and be like, hey, man, he keeps coming flat right here. I'm about to go past him. Like, that's the game within the game to me. And to me, that's what makes football fun. And that also, too, is like Coach is saying, this is an offense that's picking up on tendencies, that's picking up on, like I said, I can't wait to get in there, next week and try to talk to some guys, because they must have clearly saw that Kansas City can get grabby. Their corners can get grabby when the ball's in the air, because they went at that all day. And so for me, I like that they're the game within the game. That's not just X's and O's. It's tendencies. It's tempo. It's all of that stuff. I feel like that urgency all of that matters in the game. And I thought Brian Schottenheimer, I think he's getting more comfortable also as a play caller. I think he's been calling some of his best games, despite the questionable decisions that people have and stuff like that. I think he's one of the best play callers in the NFL right now, and it's hard to say that he's not.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go to that length. And what I am going to say, though, Iisha, he's in link step with his quarterback. I mean, he's calling what his quarterback likes. I love that on that third down when he just sprinted out and they ran that sprint out and he stuck it right on, and you could tell Dak's comfortable sprinting out. He likes that. He kind of likes that. And so
to Flanoy?
Correct.
Yes. I love that as well. Sorry.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is when the quarterback and the offensive coordinator are in link step, much of the same way that you see Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, right? They are really in sync with one another with how things are called. I felt that way early in the year with Baker Mayfield, and now it doesn't feel that way anymore. But when you're in link step with your coordinator, which, oh, by the way, Philadelphia is not. I mean, it doesn't take long. And I'm not bashing the Eagles. I'm saying you look at what Dallas is doing offensively, how the quarterback's playing, and the confidence the play caller has. I mean, they're in lockstep with one another.
Yeah, that's something that even before Brian Schottenheimer became the play caller, I remember asking Dak Prescott in the locker room about Shotty. Like when Shotty started, became the OC for the team, I asked, and when Mike McCarthy was here, I asked Dak, I was like, how do you feel about Brian Schottenheimer? And honestly, his answer and his excitement was really what made me, when Brian Schottenheimer became a candidate for the head coaching job, I immediately knew he was going to get it. And I really knew it because of the response of the locker room to him and how it's been since he's been in the building. And he loves football in such a way. He wants to teach you about it. He wants to, like, even in the media, if you ask him a football question during his pressers, he wants to talk ball with you. He wants to teach. And I feel like that, good players want to be coached hard. Good players want to be taught. They want to learn the details, and he does that. So I'm not surprised at his success. And him and Dak being connected isn't surprising to me, because even when Shotty was literally like a defensive advisor or something like that, the offensive players were gravitating to him even then in the building.
That's great. Great insight. Thank you for sharing that, Iisha. That's very cool. When we come back, our final few minutes, final segment, and again, we'll talk about this a little bit more and look ahead to next Thursday night and the Lions. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, we're back. Cowboys Squad Show. Iisha Morrison and former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith after the Cowboys beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day, 31-28. Just a final thought on what you were talking about there, Iisha, and you too, Coach. Tony Romo mentioned during the broadcast that when they spoke with Dak, he stressed to them that he's seeing the game now better than he ever has. Like everything is just clear to him and has slowed down, and he's in command and all that good stuff. And so that's surprising to see him the way that he's playing right now.
I will cry right now. I will bust out in tears. No, seriously. Dak Prescott is the first quarterback that I've gotten to watch from college to NFL. And in a league where I feel like quarterback has become a very microwave position. And what I mean by that is that the expectation is for the quarterback to come out and to be this star immediately and everything. Dak Prescott to me is the epitome of draft and develop, and getting to see him from the time that he started, in college to come to the NFL and to become a pocket passer, to marry that with his running ability. It's been awesome. He is so awesome to listen to at the line of scrimmage. If you've ever gotten the time to sit there and listen to him in practice, just call out stuff and to declare and all that stuff. I mean, so I'm only saying what I'm saying is because I feel like in this NFL, sometimes quarterback development gets rushed. And for players like Dak is why I think you need to be patient with guys as they learn the game. This is a very complex game. It's ever changing, but still the same. And, Dak being in year 10, I'm not surprised that he's, this comfortable, because at some point in time, you have seen it all. You have seen it all. You might have seen a different variation of it, but he's seen it all. So I'm ecstatic for him. I'm ecstatic for him, and I'm ecstatic for young quarterback to see that you can get drafted in the 4th round, be deemed as just a mobile quarterback, and become a very efficient passer, and still have your athletic traits. I think he's a fantastic example.
And quite frankly, he's been around really good football coaches, like or dislike Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is a really good quarterback coach. Wade Wilson, who believed in Dak Prescott more than anybody, because he's the one that went out and really did the work on him. And God rest his soul, rip Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson loved that young man and coached him up big time. And then he got McCarthy, who you got to give guys credit during that, and I'm sure he will at some point. He'll give all of those guys credit, but now he is seeing the game well, and guess what? He is in lockstep with the with the guy that's coaching him and the guy that's calling the plays. That's the most important thing, Yeah. I mean, I was here and I was able to witness when Troy was so comfortable in the offense. It was because Nord and Ernie Zampese were in lockstep with him, and that really feels like what's going on here now.
You know who else is in lockstep? And I guess they would have to be in lockstep. We haven't talked about it. This coaching staff, especially on the offensive side of the ball, coaching together. These guys have not coached together. And, when you look at the run game and how the run game is improved, it makes sense. Like they're setting up plays. They're setting up passing plays with the run game. That means that the run game coordinator, who isn't really Clayton Adams, but I'm pretty sure he is because that's his forte, and Brian Schottenheimer, Junior Adams, all of those guys, I feel like those guys working in tandem is something that we haven't highlighted enough, is that they had to get in a rhythm and learn each other and make sure that the run marries the pass and all that stuff. So I also think those guys are working really well lockstep, because here's another thing. In these games that you've played this last 3 weeks, you went up against some premier pass rushers and they have not killed you. And to me, that's coaching. That's that offensive line coach getting with Connor Riley, getting with Clayton Adams, and getting with Schottenheimer, and those guys committing to not let a Max Crosby whoop on you, to not letting a Chris Jones, kill you today. No, like they had a game plan to kind of neutralize those guys. And for the last 3 weeks against Philly, Jalen Phillips, the week before Dallas played Jalen Phillips, he had six pressures. Jalen Carter, 2 pressures last week. Dallas is also doing things. They're working together in tandem as a staff. And I think that that's something to be talked about as well.
Yeah. We mentioned Javonte Williams and the job he's doing running the football. He is a damn good pass protector, and I mean damn good.
And you know what? He did that well. Stretch, I don't know if you looked at it, but even in Denver, even though Denver was not playing well and he wasn't playing well in Denver, that was something I immediately noticed when I was watching his tape from last year. And I noticed it in training camp very quickly. It's like, oh, no, this guy wants to pick up the blitz. This guy's not afraid to get his nose in there. And he's a lot of these big plays that you've seen Dak Prescott make to George Pickens, believe me, like he's the reason why Dak is able to step into those throws in rhythm. It's Javonte Williams. He's been awesome.
Yeah. And again, I thought Malik Davis with his big touchdown run today, the young man looks good. He looked good last week for the couple carries that he had.
How excited for him.
Yeah.
Very excited for him. Malik has been here, been at Dallas. I've been with the Cowboys for 4 years now. This is my 4th year. He's been here every year, and he gets released. He gets put on the practice squad. He gets other guys choosing before him, and he's just kept his head down. And I do think his explosiveness is something that you can use. Jeff, you mentioned it the other week. Coaches mentioned it the other week. It's like Javonte is a fantastic runner, but he is not a east to west runner. He's not going to be super shifty. You do need a guy that can, hit some of those explosive runs, and Malik did that today. And I think that that's something that you can continue to add into this offense.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, this was a great show after a great day and a great win for the Cowboys, 31-28. I mean, just again, like you said, Coach, you don't want to be a homer, but when you take a step back and think that they beat the Eagles on Sunday and the Chiefs tonight, that's I don't care what team it is. That is very, very impressive. Very impressive. Got to tip your cap. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Coach. We're praying for you and your mom and your family, and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll talk to you next Thursday. Iisha, when is your show back on, tomorrow or Monday?
No.
Okay.
I'm off tomorrow. You catch me on Monday at 8 a.m. Girls Talk, Boys Talk. Come see us. We're going to talk about this win. Nice. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the weekend. And again, enjoy this huge Cowboys win, 31-28. We knew it was going to be a big game when the schedule came out. It sure was. And a big Cowboys win over the Chiefs. Have a great Thanksgiving and a great weekend. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.